And it's spring, spring, spring. Abominations have been summoned. I got skull staffs from Pangaea. Trading is victory. And we did some shit here. Oh, false prophet. Ah yes, that's from a random event. A false prophet shows up with his dudes and is secretly preaching away your own dominion until you find and dismantle his operation. What we did. And now we're laying siege to Miglan itself. As you can see, this army is mostly scripted. The mages are a mixture of support mages with shitty paths who will just shoot out some Bane darts and such other low level spells, while my main mages, those with level 2 in death, will summon hordes of skeletons to overrun the enemy. And here I am putting my mammoths in front, so everything shitty imaginable will happen to them instead of the rest of my army, which will mostly consist of archers and some crossbowmen firing. And especially my archers, thanks to having wings, will basically hop into range and then shoot directly into the rear of the enemy, as you saw a couple turns back when I slaughtered dozens of Miglan's mages like this. And of course there are also my storm guards. A bit expensive, but this is a gimmick game, so expensive is the way to go. And that's basically it. Right now I'm just obsessively looking at all my mages and units to make sure everything is a-okay. And as you can see, there is lots of empty space in the middle. Now I'm moving some squads around just in case there is a mammoth stampede and they inevitably run away. And then I can launch my attack, Storm Castle. And even if I fail, I have a second army ready to go. And Bogarus took everything else, so after we take Miglan, we basically have nothing else to do but, well, build shit and prepare for the inevitable conflict in a couple turns. Of course, Pangaea is now underwater too, trying to get everything. As you can see, that's that weird little helmet on the green vehicle flag. And Miglan still has 1 or 2 provinces too. But that's for the future. Preach, preach, preach enemy dominion away. Especially Miglan's dominion. I want that nation gone as fast as possible, not a redo of Case Yomon. Oh, as you can see, I didn't give Pangaea everything. I finally got into the water. I keep forgetting if I actually already mentioned it. I only make these commentaries at the weekends, so and after a week of doing other stuff, I sometimes have trouble remembering what I talked about last time, and I'm too lazy to just look at my old videos. Sorry about that. This Let's Play is a bit half-assed, I confess. But at least it will go on until the end, that I promise. I'm not that lazy. And now you'll see me retooling my recruitment cures a bit. Gripping stuff, I'm sure. Theoretically, I could still recruit an ungodly amount of units everywhere. But then I would have this stupid problem of units clogging everything up. After all, I'm using almost every fortress I have to recruit more mages who are more important, so I typically lack the leaders necessary to actually move those giant lumps of units. That's the one drawback of having too much money. There's only so and so many provinces where you can plop down fortresses and temples and shit. I'm thinking about building something in the Summerlands. Oh, why not? Castle down here. Of course, too many castles will sooner or later drain resources from each other, causing the problem of being able to recruit too many units to solve itself. Wow, that was a long sentence. Anyway, you see death stacks everywhere, but I only have enough mages for maybe 2 or 3 of them. Well, maybe twice that if I stop researching, but I won't do that, of course. Yes. No, I am retooling recruitment so that there is always a useful mixture of units everywhere to just take and move around. And I'm still using or abusing my pretender to superside search. I need more depth, a lot more depth. And sooner or later he'll go back to where he belongs, which is Yomon actually, since I don't want to put him too close to Garth just in case. His border is after all just next to my capital, and it's a bit too early to throw him against Bogarus even if the war starts. And I have no idea why I'm still recruiting those. Oh, I finally stopped. Well, I have no idea what I'm doing with those. This turn was a long time ago, and after multiple losses and one very bloody victory, I'm still at a loss what I want to do with them now. Probably try to get 1 or 2 more of Mictlan's underwater provinces before Pangaea can get them all. Pangaea, well, they're a bit annoying right now since they're now in the waters to my south and not blocked by that one choke point to my east. Still, all my preparations are going for Bogarus. I've already prepared 2 armies, and the third one is basically down in the south. Even if it's a mess, it's basically just all my old chef armies together with some ad hoc mages, because even as AI, Mictlan was powerful enough to stop my unsupported armies. But my real armies are still either building up or just sitting around since I don't need them against Mictlan, and I don't want Bogarus to find out what I'm planning for him too early, because obviously as a real human being he is capable of planning ahead and making counters if he knows what I'm doing. So I have to be a bit less careless, even though I'm still planning on throwing away thousands of units in feints and fake attacks. After all, my income is 14,000, even for a gimmick game that's a bit lot, even so I have no idea how much, of course, the others are getting. I just have the double whammy of having lots of income, and even my most expensive units are rather cheap. Well, compared with the most expensive units of other nations, that is. So even though my upkeep is an incredible 7k gold, I still get thousands and thousands and thousands of gold every turn, even after all my recruitment. To get my treasury down close to 0, I actually have to build temples, fortresses and labs everywhere, or I would just pile on money uselessly, like some kind of fantasy Squidge MacDuck, if MacDuck was a raven in Into Death Magic. Okay, that doesn't work too well, but well, gold, ducks, Duckburg, you know. I'm still researching stuff, and I have an ungodly amount of all the gems I don't use: nature, earth, and air. And since we are in that case, in that phase of the game where people aren't really into trading a lot, it's getting harder and harder to do something with them. I already spent something absurd, like, I don't know, 70 gems or something. I think it was 75 gems for 6 Sculptor staffs, and even so, I essentially saved over 70 of my dev gems this way. It still didn't really make a dent into all those other gems. But well, in an emergency I can just alchemize them, which is costly, since 2 gems turn into 1 Astral Pearl and 2 Astral Pearls into another gem. So essentially you need 4 gems to get 2 pearls to get the 1 gem you need. Well, at least I have now a good dozen of those flying abominations, also capable of flying through a storm. And as long as Bogarus has some living units left, they can also use their fear to root entire armies. Of course, at this point I've started realizing that with 2 blood nations summoning tons of vampires and other undead shit, it may be not working out as I wanted. At this point I'm just summoning Siths, because in other games I wanted to and somehow never got the chance to do so. So I'm basically just doing it just because. The same, to be truthful, is with Banefire. Would may make more sense to concentrate on death and skeletons instead of throwing undead fire, but I also never got the chance to really use Banefire. So I'm making now half a dozen and growing numbers of Banefire throwers just because. Since this army is, as I have to confess, rather experimental, I of course have 2 normal armies. One which is mostly with a wild mixture of air and other shit, and of course my armies with death mages. But sooner or later I have to replace them with Mount Fiends, and even later with Liches, because most of the death spells, the good death spells, are also really detrimental to your death mages if those aren't undead themselves. And now it's the turn over. Well, until next time, Lipluini out.